Welcome back. Every week on our new streaming show, Meet the Press Reports, we do a deep dive on a single topic with new in-depth reporting. This week, we're focusing on water security, and it's not just climate change that's impacting Americans' access to water. Reality is our aging water infrastructure systems are making clean, safe drinking water unreliable in many parts of this country, too many parts. And the problem is frequently worse in the low-income areas, making this an issue of environmental justice as well. NBC's Deepa Srivaram joined this week's Meet the Press Reports with her reporting on one place where the taps went completely dry for weeks.
In at least 545 municipalities across the country, there are cast iron pipes that are now more than 100 years old. The aging infrastructure has led to a point where a water main breaks somewhere in this country every 2 minutes.
When you look at other communities that are similar like Jackson, yes, we're all struggling. We're all trying to find available funding to put toward this infrastructure that it continues to age every year. You know, it doesn't get better. You know, it gets worse.
We need state and federal resources. Our budgets are not sufficient enough to cover replacing an entire water system.
Investment in water infrastructure has increasingly fallen to state and local governments over the past few decades as costs to fix the systems continue to rise. But for a city like Jackson, where nearly 30% of residents live in poverty, people can barely afford to pay their own water bills, let alone increase taxes.
And Deepa Srivaram joins me now. You know, Deepa, you've been covering this issue in Jackson, but as you say, the reality in the country is that the next Jackson is right around the corner. And I guess the question I have, particularly with the Jackson situation, is I felt that there was a lot of finger pointing. It should be the state and the city. And then some say, well, maybe it should be the feds. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, instead of talking about it, why haven't we fixed it? And it feels like we're just standing around.
Right, Chuck. And that's what a lot of residents we spoke to in Jackson are feeling as well, that this is an issue that's just been passed over by local officials, by the state government, and definitely by the federal government as well. They really do need a lot of funding to fix this, because in reality, you know, if you keep putting Band-Aids on a very large problem, it's only going to get worse over time. And you heard Dr. Williams there, the public works director, say exactly that. And the reality of the situation, Chuck, is that it's not just a Jackson problem. Our water infrastructure all over the country is literally hitting a breaking point everywhere. The last time there was a major rehaul of water infrastructure, creating these new pipes and systems, was about 1945. And most of these pipes, you know, they can't last more than 75 years, more than 100 years. And so what you're seeing is that it's not just happening in Jackson, but basically at the same time, all of these systems are starting to fail. And the reality is also, you know, we talked about drinking water mostly in this piece, but sewage water as well. Our wastewater systems are equally crumbling. And so as we see this all over the country, you know, there's a town in Illinois, it's called Centerville, Illinois, and we should be paying a lot more attention to it. Their water systems are more than 100 years old there as well. And people are living with sewage water and sewage in their streets, in their backyards. So this is physically crumbling right before our eyes.
You know, how much is this? I mean, you look at the situation in Jackson. You have a statewide leadership's all Republican. The city of Jackson's leadership and voting electorate is all Democratic. You can't help but ask yourself, how much does that play a role?
I heard that from residents too, Chuck. They very much know that the population that's in Jackson, it's predominantly Black, it's predominantly poor. They're not exactly voting Republican down there. And they're very aware that despite the fact that they are sitting in the shadow of the state Capitol building, they are not the state's priority. They are not their governor's priority. And so it's they're very aware. They're very aware of that. And they are basically just crying for help at this point. They have local leaders who they're pushing, and those local leaders are asking state leaders, and those state leaders are asking federal leaders. And just like you said, it's an issue that kind of just keeps getting pushed around. And at the same time, it's residents who are literally paying the costs.
Well, in an odd way, this is why there has been the idea of more infrastructure spending has support on all sides of the aisle. Just do it. I think there's a sneaker company that says that. Sometimes you just want to say, hey, guys, we got a water system. Fix it. Just do it. Deepa, terrific reporting. Thank you. And you can see more of Deepa's reporting on the latest episode of Meet the Press Reports. It's now on demand on Peacock. It also includes an exclusive interview with Erin Brockovich.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.